Hi, this is Dr. Morrissey with the Morrissey Institute, and today I'm going to be talking about interweaves. Interweaves are something that aren't taught until part 2 and isn't written about until chapter 10 of the book, the EMDR book, right? This lends the idea that interweaves are very, like spooky. What do we do with them? Plus, the trainings for most trainers only spend maybe 30 minutes to an hour on interweaves when so much more time is needed for interweaves, because Francine's third edition, chapter 10, she says that interweaves are now the proactive version of EMDR. Proactive, meaning you can use them when you have time constraints. We can only do sessions in 60 minutes or less, right? So the more interweaves you use, the more apt you're to get to a conclusion in a session. You can use interweaves for safety. You can use interweaves if a client is stuck or looping. You can use interweaves to help with guilt, blame, responsibility, right? To help people move through those emotions and see that part of themselves at that time. They didn't know better. They didn't have any other skills. It's all questions that you pose to somebody to help them look at their own beliefs and decide, do those beliefs hold value, right? It allows interweaves, allow cracks to occur into that belief. So then a different perspective, an adult perspective from that child ego state, right, can occur, which means they can then let go of it. Once they can let go of it, then more healing occurs. All right, so what is an interweave? We've got that covered. When can you use it? We talked about the different times you can use it. How often? These are all questions I hear all the time in training and consultation. How often can I use an interweave? You can use an interweave as early as the second or third set. If you do your first set and that client's emotionality increases or spikes, and you're afraid they're going to become overwhelmed, right? They're not feeling safe. You could use an interweave before the second set. If it occurs after the second or third set, you can do that. You can use a couple of interweaves back to back from set 2 to set 3, see how things move into set 4 or set 5. There isn't a set idea on when and how to use them. The plan is knowing your client, watching them for the changes, right? And noticing when they are at a point where they need a little extra help. Look at an interweave as a well-placed question that will invite movement from the state they were in. Other times I tell people they're like breadcrumbs. Clients don't have that capacity to understand at what point things shouldn't have gone down this road, when this should not have happened, right? But you use these interweaves as little breadcrumbs, and the little bird follows the clues of the breadcrumbs and gets there on their own without you telling them, well, you shouldn't have. You were just a child. That's all CBT stuff. We don't confront or challenge their beliefs in a CBT way. We ask questions that will gently and provocatively help them change their own beliefs through those questions. Now, here's the biggest thing that I'm going to dispel here. What if you ask the wrong question? Hundreds of people have asked that. Guess what? The worst thing that's going to happen is the client's going to say, no, that doesn't fit. And then it's like, okay, you don't have to come up with all the answers. At that point, you then say, what do you think you need that will work in this situation? What do you feel you need to feel safe, to release the anger, to release the guilt, shame, or embarrassment, right? And because interweaves are so hard to learn for a lot of newly trained people, I have written a book, EMDR Therapy, an A to Z guide for interweaves. And it's called that because each chapter goes from A to Z, A to U actually, but A to U didn't sound as good as A to Z. And if I come up with some Z situations, right, then I will create a second edition to the book. But you can look at the book. You don't have to read it front to back. You can pick a chapter in there and go, oh my gosh, I'm working with a first responder. Ooh, chapter 6. Let me get to page 63. right? You go to page 63 and you look at, all right, am I looking at emotions that are hard for the first responders? Am I looking at how somebody died in a fire or the rescuer's perspective? I could have done more. I should have done more, right? And then you find an interweave. There's several in there. Find one you think will work for the client and ask it. So the beauty is you have the help at your fingertips, right? So if you need anything, you don't have to come up with it on your own until you feel more comfortable to develop your own interweaves. You've got the book to refer to. All right, so proactive version of EMDR is Interweaves. It helps in many areas, right? So subscribe to my channel. Hit me up with a question, a comment. Let me know what other topics you would like to see, hear, or learn about, and I will bring it to you. Thank you, and have a great day.